Greetings, fellow Earthlings,
and welcome to this tiny garage.
For those of you just joining us, a quick flashback is in order. Here's last week, putting the engine in, really just lifting it in with that hydraulic table, couple of bolts in the back, couple of bolts in the front. Of course, there is a little more to it than that, and for those of you who would like to gorge yourselves on the details, check out episode 53. With the engine in, it was time to feed the beast. We used this fancy pants Liqui-Moly engine oil, and everything else was just that regular old Porsche fluids. And then I had the audacity to pull a cliffhanger on you folks. This is what you missed anyway. The fuel pump relay is pulled, so it's not going to start. As you can see there, it is readily building oil pressure off the starter motor, and that's what we want before we give it the ignition and let the engine rip. We want to just make sure there's oil everywhere. Round two. And there we go, that's lovely. That's more than a bar, I think, of oil pressure. Plenty. So now I have my daughter watching for fluids and flames out the back. There's life. No flames. There we go. Once the fuel got to it, it was happy to purr away. That flashing light there, it means that the coolant is low. We haven't added all the coolant yet. That's it. Nothing to report. Boringly awesome. Whey!
hit the notification bell. It's up there.
Yes, please. Of course, we're not going anywhere yet. Some of the bits and bobs include using this Motive power bleeder to bleed our brake and clutch system. It really is a very handy little device. All the gory details are in episode 57. Thank you to Eric and Marco at Motive Products for sending me this catch bottle. That kind of completes the system, and really, it just makes something that's really easy even easier. Now that the engine starts, and we have a clutch again, I want to see if we have any gears. Regular viewers will know that I broke and then hopefully fixed the transmission, and this could be the moment of truth. Oh my gosh. Okay, that's first. Joy. All right. Do we have reverse? We have reverse. No grinding sounds. All feels good. So, if that is working. Oh, there we go. That's fourth gear, I think. Really fast. Yay. Another thing that I needed to unbrake was this brake booster hose. It goes sort of to the front and helps make the brake system more powerful than it would be without this assistance. My memory of how it broke is a little hazy. My understanding is we were carrying out some sort of essential work in the garage and then there was like a freak accident or something. Hi! And at the time I thought I could replace it with this similarly sized hose from the local auto parts store. And it did sort of seem to work, and certainly the car ran and the brakes worked like that. But this is a better solution. I got this from HPS Performance Products. The problem with this auto parts hose is it's like sucking a milkshake through a thin straw. It will just collapse when you put it under vacuum. The HPS hose is designed for vacuum and has a metal coil going all the way through it to prevent it from collapsing. Besides being 10 times cheaper and arriving 10 times faster than the Porsche factory part, this HPS hose will also last longer, and dare I say, makes the engine bay look slightly less boring.
I would like if you would hit the like button.
Next on the list, battery testing. All the way back in episode 1, we had this car's battery tested, and it was good. But by the time we went to start the engine, it was bad. And to do all that, we had to bring it to the store. Now, King Bolin have been kind enough to send us this BM580 battery tester. So let's give it a go. So we're setting for 12 volts. It's in the vehicle. We're going to do a battery test. Make sure the engine's off. It's a regular wet battery. Then the cold cranking amps are on a sticker on the battery, so I'm just going to enter that. And it came up with good, which it should, because that battery is very, very new. But there's all kinds of different settings in there that you might like for your battery test. All different international settings as well. Next we'll try the start load test. That apparently is showing us how much of a voltage drop we experience when you run the starter motor, plus how long it takes for the engine to actually fire up. In this case, just over half a second. And that, apparently, is normal. Here's the charging system test. I'm not exactly sure what a ripple test is, but it's giving you a real-time look at how much the charging system is adding to the battery at any given time. So here I'm trying to keep it between 2500 and 3500 RPM. And then we'll hear what it says. And so again, normal. The load test that we're not going to do requires that you turn on the headlights and the AC and all the electrical accessories to give the battery the worst case scenario and see how it performs under those conditions. Just to see what happens here, this is a battery that I know is not very good. We're just going to do the 12 volt test with it outside of the vehicle. This battery has a slightly lower CCA rating, and immediately the tester there knew that it was bad and it says that it should be replaced. So the waveform mode lets you see on this graph exactly what's happening. So you can see the dip in voltage there, or amperage, I'm not quite sure, during the startup procedure, and then as you rev it up, you can see if it charges or not. And then the multimeter is sort of similar to that. Obviously it's only getting the same information, but it shows it in a more visual way, which is kind of cool. And then using that little USB out, believe it or not, you can plug it into your Mac or your PC. I tried it on both. And it just treats it like a USB drive. Those bin files I wasn't able to open, but the photo files were easy to open. Another little job before we get on the road is making sure the tires are inflated properly. I really like any gizmos that make unavoidable, tedious jobs quicker, easier, and funner. And this Toge portable air compressor certainly fits the bill, so much so I did bring it with us on vacation recently. The obvious cool factor is its portability. It has a battery inside it, but also you can set it to the PSI you want, and when it gets there, it'll just stop. Lots of different settings for PSI and kilopascals and all that kind of stuff. It comes with different accessories so you can inflate balls and bikes. If my sources are correct, the front tires on this car should be 36 psi and the rear tires should be a huge 44 psi. Here we go. See if our little battery-powered friend can cope. It does have a horrible noise, which is probably to be expected. I'll save you there and turn it down. Takes about 5 minutes maybe to do what it just did there. The hose gets very hot indeed. And that's it, but that's not its only trick. It has this pretty nice flashlight. And just so you can really annoy people, it has this strobe light on it as well. And then also that, I believe, is the ... of SOS.
T-minus 40 seconds and counting. Mark, T-minus 30 seconds and counting, T-minus 30. We have guidance internal. 10, 9, 8, ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engines running, commit. Liftoff, we have liftoff, 11:22 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. reports that your program is in.